Buckle up, it's the Insurance Dudes Podcast.
Boom!
Boom!
David Denning.
Dave Denning.
What's up? That's me.
Davids on here.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Excited. It was excited having you guys on a live. You guys absolutely crushed it. So it's fun to hang out with you guys. Looking forward to it.
Thanks. That was 2 days ago, and we're back. It's like we're all working together all the time.
Exactly, man. I got to get out there to your side of the country. So I don't know. Sunny Southern Florida is pretty nice. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Sunny.
Don't visit Craig. It's too hot.
No.
Too hot?
No. So I'm in this room, my office at the house, and I got new windows. You would think that it would not be hot in here anymore. Guess what?
Still
Hottest
hot?
room in the house. Hottest room in the house. Is it this supercomputer?
Probably.
Probably it. Too much processing power going on there.
Processing.
Before we start, we got to go first question.
Ooh,
No.
first question. Have
I'm
you
down.
ever had a mullet?
Is that the first question?
I don't
The
know.
answer is no, not really. I have had hair down to my shoulders before, specifically just so I could get called Jon Snow. And so when it happened, I was the most
I
excited
see
person in
it.
the world. At the airport in Southeast Asia, someone's like, "Oh, kind of look like Jon Snow." And I was like, "Bam, I'm done with this. Too hot now. I'm ready to cut it off." So I pretty much within a few weeks of that, I was like, "Okay, I accomplished what I set out for. I'm done." It was way too hot. And my hair is curly, so it gets crazy when it gets long. But I did have a mohawk, though, in South Africa when I was living there. There was a charity you'd shave off, they'd give you a haircut or whatever, and you'd earn money for people donating or whatever for doing that. And people would get like shaved heads or mohawks or whatever and stuff. So I was like, you know what? My friends are having mohawks. I'll take one too or whatever. But I have super curly hair. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen a curly mohawk, but it looks really weird. But I kept that for
What
a
do they
good
call
3 to
that?
6 months.
What do they call a curly mohawk? Because there's the
Good
faux
question. I don't know. There's probably some term out there. I would have to
hawk. There it
imagine.
is. Well, you got to be careful what you Google these days.
Yeah.
See
yeah.
a reporter or
It's-
something. So are you suggesting we play a round of speed breakers?
I think we should play Speed Breakers, Mr. Craig.
Well, guess what?
Really wish I
Is
knew what it
actually
was.
the first question.
Okay.
Are you ready for speed breakers? We got to get
I'm
through
ready.
this in under 20 seconds, and there's like 10 things.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You ready? First crush.
Keira Knightley.
Most embarrassing thing your mom ever caught you doing.
Face
Probably
the
something
president.
inappropriate with my now wife. Yeah. Girlfriend in high
Fastest
school.
speed ever driven.
Oh, maybe like 115, 120? I don't know.
Cereal.
Oh, I don't even need cereal anymore, but I like Cocoa Puffs. And
How
Cookie
many
Crisp.
kids
0.
have you made cry?
Oh, have I made cry? Oh, probably at least 10, maybe 50.
Okay.
I don't know.
Count Chocula or Count Dracula?
Dracula.
Fastest mile.
Running or driving? Because I'll take
Fastest
my
mile, that's
driving
all it
speed.
says.
Yeah.
That's all it says.
Sub 1 minute mile driving. So yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Favorite flavor?
Hot
Dogs or cats?
Nice.
dogs for sure.
Obviously, that's when we
Obviously.
hang up on people. Tacos or burritos?
Ooh, tacos. Yeah.
Trump or Biden? You don't have to answer that question. Welcome to the Insurance Dudes.
Yeah. Anybody but Trump, but that doesn't necessarily mean Biden. But yeah, how about that? Hopefully, I didn't lose my fan base there, but whatever.
Oh, this is awesome. So let's
I'm
dive
libertarian,
in.
so third party. So I'll take neither side if that was an option. So yeah, how about that?
Love
I
it.
Stay silent. I don't touch that politics stuff.
Yeah, it's just too depressing. I try not
Yeah.
to think about it.
Well, so you're in the insurance space here. Have a huge group with what? There's over 15,000 in there.
Yeah, getting close to 16. Yeah,
That
that's
is
a good group.
incredible. Good
On the
job.
Book of Face.
Yeah. So how did you gravitate? Why don't you tell your story? How you got over here? How you are involved in insurance and what's going on?
Cool. How far back we want to go? Now, I was born in
Back to
1989, and
89.
no, it's I'll give you a very quick rundown because it's been a wild ride to even end up in this spot. So My construction management, project management, I mean, treatments. Ended up in South Africa for a couple of years and doing that, and coming back, wanted to start a business that we kind of run from wherever. We like travel, we like working in different parts of the world. So started up a business web agency with my wife, and still a business partner as well. And we ran that for a few years. Met our partner Renee Cabrera, who background in the insurance industry. He had been life licensed in the industry since like '95, and he had a company running AdWords and Facebook ads and social media for about 200 agents and agencies in the insurance industry. A lot of them were State Farm back then. And he was like, hey, there's a huge need in this industry for, good support and resources and training. A lot of people are thrown a contract and told, figure it out. And I think there's a huge need for filling that gap in there. And just a need for agents to connect and really learn what's out there too, because you don't know what you don't know. And when you talk with other agents, you're like, wait a second, you're getting all this support and these higher commission rates or all this stuff going on. Like, I didn't even know that existed. And so, we started our group as really a place for us to initially connect with a lot of them and help out in a bunch of different ways. And for them to find referral partners, us do a bit of training, us to have, top industry experts come in and talk about things and different stuff. And, us to find really quality resources and tools and stuff for them as well, and help kind of train them and also bring people in to do trainings and stuff in there. And so it's grown massively throughout the years. I don't think we ever knew it would kind of grow to where it did. And just mostly try to keep it super positive atmosphere where, people don't get ripped apart for asking a newbie question, because there's a lot of people, just getting licensed to people that have been there 40 plus years. And so I kind of like that it's a good mix in there. So everybody's getting value out of it is what our goal is. So.
It is a good mix, and it is the resources. You go live all the time, and there's a ton of free how many times a week do you guys go live?
So we used to do a lot more. I used to do like 2 or 3 1-hour lives a week or whatever. So I've probably done like 400 plus lives at this point. So very familiar with Facebook Live, and also everything that can go wrong on one. So yeah. At this point, yeah. But yeah, no, now we go live about once a week on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern time is when we typically do them. And then we'll run watch parties throughout the week because we know people are busy selling insurance. And so we'll run watch parties and have it, there throughout the week for them. And we'll occasionally do like, some one-off trainings and stuff outside of that as well. We find doing too much, agents are just busy. So I don't want to pull them away too much because they need to be actually, selling and putting in the work. Like, you can watch as many Facebook Lives as you want, but it's not going to help you do anything unless you can actually go apply stuff from it. So, right. So yeah, I do a lot though. I've been on camera way too much, I think. So
what are maybe like the top 3 things that you've learned, biggest takeaways since you've gotten to talk to so many insurance agents?
I think some of the biggest takeaways are that a lot of their issues, the vast majority, fall into similar categories. So, I mean, no one's alone out there. They're all struggling with a lot of the same things. And, talking with thousands over these years, because I'll have a lot of individual calls with them to find out what they need help with or what's kind of going on with their business, or just connecting with them as well. And it all comes down to like, first is the pipeline and filling that up, a consistent quality pipeline. That's always the first, and that's why all the questions are like, where's a good lead vendor? Who's a good lead vendor? Because everybody thinks there's this magical lead vendor that will solve all their problems. In reality, that's not the case, as you guys well know. That it isn't just like find the right lead vendor and your problems are solved. But honestly, a lot of people get thrown into the contract and like, hey, go talk to your friends and family. And then after that, I have no idea. Figure it out. And that's not a lot of fun to be in that spot. And then, people to sales calls, spend all the dialing one number after another when there's the more efficient resources and tools out there, like Teledudes, for example. A little soft pitch, but yeah, yeah. I mean, there's much better ways and software and tools and different things out there to not spend all your time trying to get people those appointments, but rather spend all your time on those appointments, actually helping people and making money for your producers for you, and then sales, and then obviously hiring and scaling an agency. Everything kind of falls within those categories. So yeah.
It's interesting because people can get into, especially when you come in new and you're in this business, you think that obviously you have to hustle, and they'll tie that hustle to any kind of hustle. If I'm hustling, then I'm doing a good job, right? And so, like you said, to your point, calling that same number 10,000 times may feel like hustling, but it's probably not the best use. The most important thing they can do is be on those appointments all day long, right? Even if it costs money to create those appointments, they're going to make more money by doing that. If they spend half their day, there's some metric that they make money as a result of the appointment or the number of appointments. And so if you spend half the day trying to get the appointments, well, you just wasted half that day when you could have paid for somebody to do it. So
I think the saying needs to be changed. Like, activity breeds success. It's really the right activity breeds success.
Smart
you can spend all day banging your head against the wall, but it's not really going to breed success. Like, I can go out and knock every door in the city, but is that the best use of time of trying to find people to purchase insurance? Probably not. But I hustled real hard. I probably passed out and died in Southern Florida doing that. But there's better ways to do it. So yeah.
So what are some of the ways to do it that you've seen?
Well, I mean, as far as like the pipeline in general, it's normally having a pretty good mix of organic social media, strategic referral partner relationships, generating your own, and then working with vendors. And between all that, really having, a consistent pipeline that isn't all your eggs in one basket and relying in one spot. And so, a lot of people, you have these people out here that's, I would never buy a lead in my life. That's, a waste of money and a waste of time. It's like, wait a second, you're exchanging money in exchange, for having additional time and having those given to you, and it's a numbers game at that point. And at the end of the day, it is a numbers game, and I've seen your guys, worksheets and everything. It's you guys know it's a numbers game. If I have this many leads with this much contact rate, and this is my closing rate, and this is my average, AP or whatever, then this is my ROI. People like, oh, I've never spent any money on leads, and I'll sell 10,000 AP or whatever type of insurance we're selling, 10,000 AP a week. I was like, well, I could do leads, and yeah, I'm paying like 5,000 in leads maybe, but I'm doing like 25,000 in APs. Like, it's the scalability factor and ROI factor that I think a lot of people just look at leads and really anything in their business as an expense rather than an investment, and really gauging stuff by the return. Like, if I can do a 5 times return versus a 1-time return, why wouldn't I do the 5 times even if it costs me some money?
Right.
So
And how have you been able to talk to agents that were in that first mindset and move them along and show them and have them have success after that?
Well, I think a bit of it's building up the trust and what they can do with the resources that they have at first. I mean, if people don't have a budget of money to spend, they don't have a budget of money to spend. Now, I know, hey, if really you'll find it if it's that important to you. You'll rack up the credit card and you'll pay off the credit card after investing. I know Craig kind of talked about that initially when he was getting going, and that's taking the risk in it to get the biscuit, right? You're putting in the investment,
I always do that.
You're going for it. And you'll get it done too. When you have that sitting out there on the card, you're like, you know what? I'm getting this thing done because I got that out there that I got to get paid off. And ultimately I got into this to make money, not have additional debt. But when I'm talking to them, agents come all the time. Like, I don't have a budget, I don't have, money to purchase leads. And it's like, okay, well, let's look at what you're currently doing. Do you have stuff coming in for strategic referral partners? And then do you have stuff coming in off your social media? And they're like, normally, like, no, I call family and friends and I go knock doors or wherever, or I, pull out a phone book and I call numbers. I was like, okay, well, there's ways to generate, free in exchange of your time leads off of social media and spending the time on those relationships or even networking and stuff. And then, as you get additional budget, you can now exchange that money for that time, and you can now start working leads or generating your own leads. And so it's really meeting them where they're at and helping them kind of achieve a level of success, and then helping them scale that from there. So if they don't have the budget to kind of really start working the stuff, then we'll work with them where they're at and then get them to that point. Like with the Closers Click or wherever, when we had people come in, we had first questions are always like, hey, I need a good lead vendor, I need a good lead source because I want to grow and scale my business. And say, well, wait a sec, well, how much do you have coming in off your social media and referral relationships? That should still keep you pretty busy in the meantime. And they're like, oh, I don't have much. Well, let's start there first and really optimize that so you've got a consistent flow there that you can then supplement with leads and then scale from there with leads. If you don't have that stuff, then that's the easy stuff. Get that stuff rolling, and then you can go scale with leads. But if you don't have that, then I mean, that's like the stuff you can generate without having to drop a boatload of money. So
right. Well, you're gonna have to spend something. You're either gonna spend sweat, time, or money, right? Those are your three things.
Yep.
And sweat and time is usually somehow related, but it's going to be a mixture, right? For the most part, right?
Which is why
Yeah,
I've never understood why agents, view the leads they get as free. They've never spent money on leads, but they'll go spend 8 hours at networking events hoping to bring some leads, through. Those are the most expensive leads you've ever bought, because when you look at your, how much your time is worth. Like if I was working leads and I was selling, I'm actually would make, 250, 500 an hour, if I'm spending all my time selling or whatever. But if I'm going to networking events and spending 8 hours to get one prospect that maybe I'll sell, well, now your leads, your cost per lead at that point is in the thousands. So, people just don't value their time and realize that their time's worth money.
And then that cost per sale is probably triple that or quadruple that, because you have 25% closing. So yeah, it's amazing. And different people, different coaches over time have kind of painted that picture for me. I mean, there's been aha moments where it's like, oh, really it's tremendous unlocking that time, because you can put yourself so far ahead, right? So you may spend 20 grand on leads this month or whatever, some budget, but you're saving all that time going to those network, doing all the hard stuff, like knocking on doors and doing tents at shows. And
I think a lot of people don't realize the speed too. Speed comes into play, because that is time. So if you can do 10 years within 1 year, you just saved 9 years of time, even if it did cost more money. Now you're in a position where you're going to be reaping the reward faster and living that life that you wanted to. And I don't think people really realize that there is only two assets, time or money. That's it, that you exchange. Employees exchange time for money, and employers exchange their money for the employee's time. And that's it. That's all we have as people. Yep. And yeah, when you start really just thinking granularly about that, it's like, wow.
So I was thinking about that exact thing while I was writing this morning, and then that's where I had
in your spandex?
like this in my spandex in the see-through one. So I did get some looks, but I thought of this third component, because you exchange your like I exchanged my money to get time from to leverage time. So now I have 10 people that are doing the work that I couldn't do by myself. So I'm getting 10 times. But then there's also a tie to how well they're working at that thing. And I call that that's the sweat. So it's our job to help move that sweat, right? We're the coach that needs to move their sweat so that they are driven to produce those results. Because somebody could exchange the time and just sit there, right? And they're not bought in, they don't see the vision, whatever it is. But it's important to also, I think, take a nod and really a really hard look at that equity. How hard are they performing, or how well are they performing? Hard are they? Yeah.
And as an agency owner, that's your role and your responsibility, is helping make sure they're successful and helping make sure they're efficient and set up that way. You're exchanging your money and time as well for them being able to do way more production and way more, success overall as the agency than you could do by yourself. And your role's really moved away from being the producer role into now the, hey, I'm setting up my team for success and I'm investing in them. I know you guys significantly invest in leads and resources and tools like, dialers and systems and stuff for your team to be the most efficient at what they're doing. So, I mean,
and we're constantly looking.
Yeah.
It's not changed to the next shiny object. It's use the data that you gather from doing the activity and then make a decision on it. We had a little bit of a dip, and so I'm freaking out and having conversations with the team, and then I'm talking with Jason about it. It's like, oh, my leads haven't been filling in as much as they need to be, so it actually was a lead problem. I don't know if it's as much volume coming in, and he's laughing at me that it's a lead problem. But that's the beauty of it, is that there's analytics, and you can quickly solve. In this situation, if I'm going out to all these events and trying to do all these things, it's really hard to diagnose what's working. And, it's just like, that's a shotgun approach. I'd rather just, be narrow and be able to track and measure.
And that's something we preach all the time, is data-driven decisions. Too many agency owners have no idea what's going on, or, any data behind that. I'll ask, okay, where do you, lead sources, lead vendors, for example. Oh, where are you using lead vendors? What's your, cost per sale off of those and your ROI, and how are you deciding, which ones to spend more with or less with, and which ones you're generating the best returns? They're like, I just order from all of them and try to sell them and hope I'm making money. And it's like,
yeah,
well, how are you making these decisions without data? And talk to so many that people just don't track their numbers. They don't know their closing percentage. They don't know, their average talk time. That all these things that really you kind of have to know to be all that. You talk to the top 8%, the top producers, the top agency owners. They can quote those numbers by heart, any day of the week or ever. But a lot of agents just don't realize the importance of knowing those numbers so they can make those decisions.
Right.
So let's dive into that. You've talked to the top 1%. I know that you've talked to a lot of big agents. What are some of the commonalities between all them? What are everyone that they're going to say this, they do this?
The top ones have all invested in themselves and their growth and in their success. So they're not afraid to put money into something if it's going to generate a return for them, whether that's leads, whether that's, and I would pretty much say all of them have invested in coaching and training in one way, shape, or fashion, whether that's maybe, something with their commission in order for being with an organization that has really, really good support and training and resources, or whether it's them just individually investing within programs that are going to push them forward and help them get to where they need to be quicker and avoid mistakes that, they would make if they hadn't learned that was a mistake before they even made it. They're constantly talking to other top people in the industry. That whole, you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. I mean, I know we kind of brush that off sometimes a little bit, but it's so true. If you're hanging out with a bunch of brand new agents or agents that you just don't really want to put the work in, or, you're, agency owners that aren't really looking to really push and grow, they're like, yeah, I'm happy where I'm at. You're going to end up in the same boat, and you're also not going to be set up for success too. So they're always, they're going to top events, they're going to top masterminds and networking type stuff. They're just constantly looking for ways to improve and push, because you guys know this industry isn't stagnant. It changes constantly. At least over the last 10 to 15 years or so. The industry before that maybe didn't change too much for 100 years, but with with the internet and digital marketing and millennials and all these, new, purchasing behaviors and buying decisions, and also the 10,000 a day now becoming over 65 and entering Medicare, final expense type markets and stuff. Everything's changing a bunch. And if you don't kind of keep up with that, you get left behind. Or if you come into it not really trying to learn that and grow with that, you're also going to get left behind. So I think that's some commonalities. They're always pushing. Yeah. They're always looking to invest in themselves and push forward, knowing they'll get a return off of that. They're taking the risks too, but they know, hey, I'm gonna do my due diligence, but I'll get a return off of what I put the money into. They're not scared to do that. So I think that's probably one thing.
Yeah, they ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be continued.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, Mr. Craig.
That was another awesome episode, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if people want to get a little bit more action and learn how to do write 100,000 in premium off of even the worst internet leads, where could they go?
They can go to live.teledudes.com.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Are we going to be there?
Yes. It's a weekly call that we're doing right now it's live, and it will show you the process. The entire process is super awesome.
I love it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sign up right now, live.teledudes.com.
Live.teledudes.com. That's live.teledudes.com.
Hey, Craig, there's a new community that we are starting that I cannot wait to tell everybody about. It is our live texting community where you and I are going to answer people's questions and give them free content, right?
Are you kidding me? We get to talk to them?
Yeah, which is awesome, but they have to opt in. They have to text us at 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
Nice.
Craig, are you going to respond to these texts?
I'm going to respond to them for sure. Live.
I'm into it too. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be our new texting community where we're going to get back to everybody that we can and drop some crazy content, free content, and free the calculator that you just came up with. That's right. The calling calculator, sales material. I mean, everything for insurance agents. This is it. It's the best texting community out there for insurance agents.
Well, what the heck is that number again? I can't remember it.
It's 520-214-2219. That's
Okay.
520-214-2219.
I love it. I'm going to text it right now.
520-214-2219.
All right. I'll see you later, Mr. Jason.
Bye, Mr. Craig.
Wait, do they even listen to this on the radio anymore?
I love it. I love it.
Nice.
All
right.